Is it possible? In Tokyo, there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground. The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street, and below you, there's a whole underground city. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens and some other modern birds share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. It turns out that in some countries, you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Why do owls have asymmetrical ears? Owls are not only known for their sharp eyes, but also for their unique ears, which are placed asymmetrically on their heads. This unusual arrangement allows them to pick up sounds in 3 dimensions, pinpointing the location of prey. Even if it's hidden under a layer of snow or leaves, this special auditory adaptation makes owls masters of nighttime hunting, capable of seeing the world through sounds. It explains why they're so successful as nocturnal predators. Imagine for them, every rustle is like a flash of light in the dark. Ancient Roman firefighters and their unusual tactics. In ancient Rome, firefighting wasn't just about saving lives. It was a business. When a fire broke out, firefighters would rush to the scene, but they would only put out the flames if the property owner agreed on a price. This strange combination of urgency and negotiation shows just how different firefighting was back then compared to today. Back in those days, saving a building from flames required both money and quick decisions. It's amazing. But the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Did you know that medieval winemakers used ton as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term ton was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. 1 ton referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America, his goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. Imagine for a moment, the Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. What do cats purr for, really? We often think cats only purr when they're happy, but they actually use purring as a self-healing mechanism. The sound frequency of about 25 Hz helps cats speed up bone and tissue healing. It's a biological feature that not only relaxes them, but also promotes health. So, when your cat purrs, it's not just showing contentment, it's also caring for its well-being. How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey. Measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams, these miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Why is there a village in China where nearly everyone lives past 100 years? In the Chinese village of Bama, nearly every other resident lives to be 100 years old or more. Scientists believe it's due to the clean air, mineral-rich water, and a diet rich in local herbs and vegetables. The locals also lead active lives, working physically well into old age. Tourists come here hoping to learn the secrets of longevity, but the villagers say the key is harmony with nature and a positive outlook. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies? Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist. They can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Did you know that the highest peak in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado? This surprising fact highlights the incredible diversity and contrast in the geography of the United States. Pennsylvania's highest point, Mount Davis, stands at only 983 meters, which is actually lower than the lowest point in Colorado, the Arkansas River, at around 1,000 meters above sea level. Geography can sometimes surprise you with unexpected comparisons like this one. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets, but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Why do you think lightning can strike the same place multiple times? Contrary to popular belief, lightning can strike the same place multiple times. For example, the Empire State Building in New York is hit by up to 100 lightning bolts every year. This happens because tall buildings and structures attract electric discharges. The tops of these buildings are equipped with lightning rods to protect them from strikes, making multiple lightning strikes not just possible, but common. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products, and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders, and revolutions. Did you know there are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the world? This is no joke. The plastic flamingos that often adorn lawns and yards have become so popular that there are now more of them than living flamingos in the wild. This surprising fact about pop culture shows how even seemingly random decorative elements can take over the world. The plastic flamingo has become a symbol of American lawn design and has gained massive popularity. Who would have thought that toy birds could outnumber their living counterparts? Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quiricura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the Sun, but one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. Organic food, truth or myth? About its benefits, research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo, it's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo, sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839, in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to okay, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, okay has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, okay proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia, containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Black panthers. A sleek coat, not a species. The term black panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration, melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide and seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large, empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean. 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Hard to believe, but there's no letter A in numbers from 1 to 1,000. It's true. If you start counting from 1 to 999, you won't find the letter A in any of the numbers. The letter A only appears in the word 1,000. This fun observation shows just how unique the English language is and how unexpected patterns can be hidden within it. Sometimes, these small details make us look at familiar things in a new way. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Amazing but true, donkeys have more personality than horses. Donkeys are often seen as stubborn, but they're actually very intelligent and emotional. They can remember their friends, both humans and other animals, for over 20 years. Donkeys form deep bonds and can sense changes in their owners' moods. They love attention, can get jealous, and even become sad if ignored. These emotions make donkeys incredibly unique and affectionate animals that deserve much more appreciation.